Hi everybody, I'm Sheree from the library, and I want to tell you about some great new books we have that you might be interested in. First off, I want to mention True Biz. Now this is not a young adult novel, this is regular adult fiction, but it was so compelling that I felt I had to share it with everybody. A coworker recommended this book to me, and I'm recommending it to all of you. Nobody will be sorry if you read it. This book is about a girl, I gotta check her name, Charlie, who is hard of hearing, almost deaf. She ends up going to a school for the deaf. She has had a cochlear implant, which is supposed to make it easier for her to hear, but in fact has made it much more difficult for her to learn sign language or lip reading, and so she has a really hard time communicating with other kids at the school who have all been learning sign language for a long time. When I read this book, it was not only a great story, a great novel, it taught me so much about deaf culture and what that is and what that means and all the different layers of microaggressions that deaf people face. If you read this, you will not be sorry, and you will pass it on to everybody. There are also two great love stories I read this past couple of weeks. I'll tell you no lies. This is about a girl in 1955 whose military father has been transferred to work on a secret project. Her mother has recently died in a car crash, and this 18-year-old young girl is trying to figure out how she's gonna fit into this new life and make things work without her mom. Very quickly, they come in contact with a Russian spy who has escaped from Russia and is being held on their military base, but when they begin to squeeze him to turn on his country, his home country, he disappears. How she interacts with him, it's a lot packed into a small book. I'm showing you that it's thin, but I kept turning the pages, couldn't stop because the story is that good. Also, some of you have heard me talk about Nick Stone. She wrote Dear Justice, Dear Martin. This is her new book. It's called Chaos Theory. And this is a love story between two kids who are struggling with mental health issues. Shelby has a lot going on in her own life when she meets Andy, who is struggling with depression and a dysfunctional family. And it says, do you know what would happen if Earth suddenly stopped spinning? And when they meet each other, they feel like that's what's happening. I also really wanted to highlight this month all kinds of anthologies of short stories. For those of you that don't want to read a book that's just one story page after page, these are fantastic collections of stories, and they come in almost every topic. Out front you can see this one's about baseball, and it's written by some incredible young adult authors. Over there is Up All Night, and they are stories that take place between sunset and sunrise. So they're the overnight stories. This is absolutely normal. This is a brand new book where every story talks about a teen who is struggling with a mental health issue. You may see yourself in that book, you may see somebody you know, or you may just learn a lot and enjoy the reading while you're at it. This is featuring stories, this is Generation Wonder. It is featuring new hero stories of the new ages. This is one that has a lot of different authors. Some of them are written all the same. These are both romance, serendipity, 10 romantic tropes transformed, and a universe of wishes. Both of these books explore love stories, but either with a new twist or taking the old trope, which is something you see over and over and over again, and spinning the story around it. This one is Magic Has No Borders, which is about diverse kids in all cultures. This is Boundless, which is also 20 voices celebrating multiculturalism in America. And my favorite, Better Than We Found It, is a collection of stories and essays by kids who are changing the world. They're written by authors who are also warriors for social justice, and I love that about them. So if you want something where you can just dip in and read a story here and there, read them in whatever order you want, read a shorter story, these kinds of collections are for you. Last but not least, I want to mention the Sheree series. This is taken from the Black Panther story, but the stories are about his sister and her amazing gifts and powers. The new one has just come out. There's 3 in the series now. They're probably going to go on for quite a while. So if you're somebody who enjoys, the Marvel universe, these are for you. Thanks so much for listening, you guys. Have a great month.